Well, hey there, American Farmsteaders. My name is Donna at Hazel Bell Farm, and I'm here with my friend Jenny from the Gramstead Family Farm.
Hey, y'all.
And this week we are talking about raising your kids on the homestead.
Yes.
How are your kids?
Yeah, my kids are good. I'll actually open with a funny kid story about the homestead. This just happened a couple of days ago. I was out making my rounds. Everybody was at school. I was out making my rounds, feeding everybody, and I was feeding the sheep, and my phone rang. So I look at it. It's my oldest son, and I'm like, it's weird. He's calling me. It's like 9 a.m. He's at school.
Right.
So I answer it, and it was, he had his AirPods in his ears, and it automatically called me. It was like a butt dial, but with AirPods. So I'm not real sure how that works, but he butt dialed me with his ears. And so I sat there and listened to it because I'm a mom, and that's kind of what we do. We just sit there and listen for 30 seconds.
Opportunity.
Yeah, and I couldn't really hear much, and so it disconnected. And then a couple minutes later, the phone rang again, and again, I'm feeding the sheep. The sheep are all going crazy. They're like, right, doing what they do. And so I sat there and just kind of let the sheep carry on. And I'm sitting here listening to this butt ear dial phone call. And all of a sudden I hear this kid go, "Dude, why are there goats talking to us?" And then it goes click, gets disconnected.
Oh, he knew.
So Mason immediately sent me a text, and he was just dying laughing.
Oh, my
He's
gosh.
like, I was sharing one of my earbuds with my friend, and he said all of a sudden his friend just looked at him and, "Dude, why are there goats talking to us?"
Because most of the friends haven't grown up on a farm.
No. And so I asked my son, I'm like, "Did you hear the sheep?" And he was like, "Yeah, I just didn't think about it." Because he's just so used to hearing it. So he kind of just tunes it out. But I thought that was really cute.
I have a similar story where last year I was milking Hazel. And I had it was still fairly new, but I had my Apple Watch. And I was hand milking, and one of her teats dialed Austin at school. Well, he happened to be in ag class. And so Hazel and I, we were just getting back into a milking routine. And after we had moved and gotten everybody situated in the summer and all of that. And so she was still a little bit steppy, just a little out of routine kind of thing. And so she liked to be sung to. And I was singing a hymn. We were into a lot of, it just depends on the season. We go through different stations on Pandora. Anyways, I was just singing my heart out, milking the cow. And so I call him and I hear, "Hello, Mom, hello." And I look and I'm like, well, it wasn't me. It was Hazel. I'm so very sorry. So, I don't know. He probably put me on speaker. It wouldn't surprise me. He doesn't actually remember it. We got to actually tell that story to somebody just a week ago. And he was like, "What?" He didn't remember. But
that is so funny.
He was like, "Sorry, I'm milking the cow." So, yeah.
Oh, the things that farm kids have to endure.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
That is a funny story.
So, yeah, things happen. Things happen like that for our kids that don't happen with normal kids.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I know anytime anything's being born in our yard, I'm like, "Kids, y'all, come on.
Yeah.
One day, Cohen and one of his friends that he went to school with last year, Friday was kind of like their down day at school. It was their ag day, but they didn't really have a great agriculture program at that point in time. And so on Fridays a lot, I would keep Cohen and his friend at my house. Well, lo and behold, one day that they were skipping, Hershey, that was the day that she calved her first calf. And so I hauled the boys out. I'm like, "It's ag day, boys. Come on,
On the day that they were skipping ag day.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm like, now that was a good ag day.
That's awesome.
It started raining. We were out in the pasture in the side by side. It was pouring and, it was a lot of fun.
That is awesome. That never gets old to me.
No, that never gets old.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that kids on a farm see and learn early on, is new life, how new life is formed. And when my kids were very small, not very, very small, but they were pretty young. They had to be 5 and 7. We picked up a couple of pigs from a friend, and he had pigs, and they had just bred and bred and bred. He was like, I got too many pigs. Just come get these pigs.
Right.
I'm not charging you anything. I just don't want them anymore. So we picked up 2 and we let our kids raise them. And then I remember thinking, how like you're kind of in denial about that we might have a pregnancy happening here.
Yeah.
So, because we picked up a male and a female, but we castrated the male immediately. And the female was already bred and we didn't know. So she was small and young. So we let the boys take care of it. Like that was their thing. That was one of their chores. They were young, but they could hose off their little concrete pad. They could feed them in fresh water every day. And that was one of the things that we could trust them to do.
Yeah.
And I think it was 5. They were 5 and 7 years old. So like learning responsibility that, another life is depending on them. And you can do that with a cat and a dog in a subdivision, but the pigs are just cool to little boys.
Yes, the pigs are really cool. That's kind of always been one of my kids' favorite thing, especially when they're piglets and they're small.
Yeah.
I mean, once they get to be big pigs, my kids are like, no,
they're annoying.
We're done.
Yeah, they kind of get on your nerves.
But you can't beat the little piglets.
Yeah. So we let that be their little pet project per se, and they sold little feeder pigs to people and made a little bit of money. And then we butchered those pigs, and we ended up getting more pigs. I can't remember I don't remember if we bought them or got them from the same people or what. I don't remember. But then they wanted to know, well, can we do that on purpose? Can we breed them?
Right.
So they learned a lot early on about breeding animals and the facts of life. And about the same time, we had some goats a little bit after that we were breeding.
Right.
And we got a cat that was pregnant also. So like we had a lot of discussion about the facts of life pretty early on at the same time.
You'll learn the facts of life very fast with breeding animals.
Yeah. It was fun though. Like it was fun. They got to watch live birth.
Yeah.
And I don't remember watching a live birth until I was much older than that.
No, I for sure didn't see anything like that when I was a kid.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. So when you got that first 2 set of pigs, like when you went and picked them up, with your boys and whatnot, when you brought them onto your farm, did they know right up front what the ultimate plan was for those pigs?
Yes. They knew. In fact, they helped us pick out which pigs we were going to get. Honestly, I think it probably came down to whichever ones we could easily snag out of the pen. Which ones are like easier to get. So, but I do remember them saying this one, that one. And I don't know if it was because like that one's slower. They were actually choosing it based on what it looked like. But
right.
Yeah, they knew from the get-go, this is going to be pork chops and bacon on the table.
Yeah. I think that's very important with kids to get them used to the whole, raising your own food thing. And I know anytime now that I bring an animal onto our farm, I don't even have to tell my kids and bring it up. They bring it up first and they say, what is this animal for? Are we going to eat this animal? Are we going to keep this animal as a pet? Like what's going on with this one? Because they want to know up front. Right. Not that those animals are treated any differently than anything that we don't butcher and eat. But, you just kind of want to, know the expectations.
Well, they want permission to get attached to that animal or not. That's what they're looking for without asking, in so many words. Yeah, that's a question I get a lot lately with this whole, I hate to use the word homestead anymore because it sounds trendy.
It does.
And maybe it is trendy, but it really is just a way of life. And there are more people getting back to that way of life.
Yeah.
But so that's a question I get a lot where, a couple decides this is what we're going to do. We're changing our family's life and we bought land and we're gonna raise some animals for meat. How do we tell our kids? And I laugh because honestly, my kids have always known.
Yes.
We never had a difficult conversation about, this is what our intentions are for this animal. So, I don't ever remember any reluctance from them with that. No. I do remember where it was new to me as a kid, but I don't remember it being a problem.
Yeah, no, we've always just been very matter of fact about it with our kids. Like, yes, that pig is going to be for us to eat.
Right.
That's where pork chops come from. Do you like bacon? Well, that's where bacon comes from.
Right.
And that sausage that you love, well, that's where that comes from too. And for us, it was as simple as that, just being matter of fact and upfront and honest with the kids.
Right.
Like, this is what we're doing.
Right.
And they just kind of accepted it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people who are making that transition go to the truth in factory farming and explaining that to their kids versus what they want to try and implement on their own little farms. And, this is the contrast. This is what we've been supporting versus this is the way we would like to do it.
Right.
And that's been that. I've even seen that here at our farm when people pick up meat, where, and kids have questions and they're excited to see animals and they know that hamburgers come from cows, but they want to know like, hey, is that cow going to go to the butcher? Is that cow going to be hamburger? And, sometimes the answer is yes. And I kind of look to the parents for guidance on what is allowed. Because they're not my kids, I know how I would answer for my kids, but, they want to know and they want to be able to do that before they can do that. They're supporting small farms like us and they're happy to do that. And the kids they'll ask like, can I pet them?
Yeah.
Well, sure. If they come to the fence, you can certainly pet them.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's weird to them when they're raised up in it.
No,
I don't think.
No. And for the kids that aren't really raised up into it and those families are making the switch, the idea of explaining, how factory farmed animals are raised versus small farm animals, I know that kids are a lot more accepting if they get to know that, oh, that chicken right there lived its best chicken life.
Right.
On grass, outside
bugs,
running around.
Yeah.
It's been super happy, very well taken care of. And I think that they settle with that, a lot easier.
I think they're more understanding than us adults give them credit for too.
I think so too.
Yeah. I do remember when I was a kid and making that transition, I don't remember it being a big deal. I don't remember it being like this, transition. I just remember that we moved and got land and, we've got chickens. And, obviously, like we knew chicken came from chickens. It shocks me to hear that children don't know that beef is beef, or that brown cows don't give chocolate milk,
Right.
Those things seem so silly to me.
Silly.
But I guess I don't remember anybody thinking any of that when we were kids. And so it wasn't, I guess it just shows how disconnected we've become as a people from our food.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely does.
I guess that's what it comes down to. But,
yeah.
Yeah. So that is a question I get a lot is how do I talk to my kids about that? So, and you've had where one of your kids decided to be vegetarian for a while.
Yes. One of my daughters.
As you were raising animals for meat.
Yeah. For like, I don't know, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe even pushing 3 years.
Right.
It was a long time. And she did. She just gave it up one day.
Did she have, what was her reason?
Honestly, somebody at school she said, I think I might be a vegetarian. And they said, oh, no, you couldn't. You could never do that. And it was from that blessed second that girl, she's so stubborn.
Uh-huh.
From that second, she said,
tell me.
I'm a vegetarian.
Oh,
and I'm like, are you serious? That's your reason?
Right.
But whatever.
She does have a heart for the sick animals and the small animals and the weak animals. She always
really
been
does.
one to scoop them up and doctor them up.
Absolutely. Yes. She's always been my animal lover.
Mm-hmm.
she's not my outdoorsy kid either, though, at all. She is more of an indoorsy, artsy kind of a girl, but she is the first one that if we go out of town, I can say, hey, you need to feed the animals, and she's got it. She has no problem going out there and just picking it up and doing it. So, I think she somewhat enjoys it. I could see her raising some animals in her future.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool to see.
Really, I think I can see all of my kids doing some part of it.
I do too. I think our oldest, Ian, he likes the farm stuff more than Austin does.
Yeah.
Austin is kind of at a place where he tolerates it. Like, he thinks it's cool. Like, yeah, my mom grows food.
Right.
I don't really want to do it, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He's always been the one who wants to figure out how to work smarter, not harder. And I mean, there's a place for that. I'm sure he'll find his niche as an adult, and maybe that will come back to the farm. I think he'll probably do well with like running numbers he'll definitely be an entrepreneur of some sort.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll have anything to do with farm stuff, but he's very capable of doing all the things that need to be done on his own here. So,
and isn't that funny how like really all my kids could really go out there and do it. They could probably, my oldest one has started seeds before, the oldest boy, like they could transplant stuff in the garden, start seeds, harvest, feed stuff, they can do pretty much whatever out there, but it's not really because they do it all the time. They just learn so much from being like in the environment and hearing us talk about it and seeing us do it. It's not really that they participate in it a bunch.
Right.
But as they're getting older, they've kind of just gained a lot of like armchair knowledge.
Well, they're submerged in it, whether they like it or not. I mean, that's where they're living.
They do. I mean, they walk through the kitchen as I'm in there canning all day. Mom, what you doing? And so kids just learn a lot from just observing and being around it. And so I try not to nag my kids a whole lot about, you should be out there working on this or that on the farm, or you should be out in the garden pulling weed. Well, I really don't want to make it seem like work to them.
I don't want them to dislike it.
No, I don't want them to dislike it either. So I'm just kind of banking on the fact that they're soaking some stuff in.
Yeah.
And I think that they are, because as they're getting older, they kind of see how our house is a little different.
Yes.
Than when they go over to a friend's house, and how we cook is a little different. And,
Yeah. And I think that's good that they're picking up a lot of those skills that they can carry on, or they'll pull back, they'll draw back out of memory one day as adults that, I remember when my dad did this in my mom's garden, or I remember how my mom canned XYZ kind of thing, And I mean, those are memories that we have now as adults that we are drawing on. I actually had a funny story this week. So Eric went and did some work at another farm, and he was talking with the guy, and they planted muscadine vines, and here's some importance. These are people who want to put up food. They ranch, so they grow beef, and they do a great job at that. And they know how to do a lot of things with cows and raising them. They don't butcher themselves. They rely on a processor, but they can market it. They can sell it. They're very knowledgeable in that area. They want to put up food, and they have no idea where to begin. And so they're asking him questions, and he's like, kind of like our kids are submersed in it here at home. Eric is kind of like, well, my wife does this. My wife does that. You'll have to talk to Donna. I'm not really sure. But he's got enough knowledge that he can say, yeah, you can can that. Yeah. Or you shouldn't can this. You could, but it doesn't come out very good. You know? Anyways, they planted muscadine grapevines, and this year was their first big flush of grapes. And they don't know what to do with them. So they sent home with Eric a 5-gallon bucket of grapes and said, we'd like to pay our wife to can these. He's like, okay, I'll ask her, And
I don't know that I've ever heard of anybody canning those.
yes. So
I'd be making wine.
Well, here was the point of my story. Right. A lot of people make muscadine wine. Yeah. So here was the point of my story was Eric asked me on his way home. He said, hey, I'm bringing these grapes home. You can say no, but they'll pay you to can them. And I'm like, okay, well, I would have preferred that he checked with me first and I schedule an appointment for them to come over and learn how to do it.
Right.
And they could pay me whatever.
Right. Because if they have this huge, vine that
what are they going to do next year?
Time to learn.
Yes. So I said, okay, it's fine. Come on home with the grapes. And we ate on them that night. They're so good. They were so good. But the next day he said, do you know how to do that? Because he knows I haven't canned any grapes since we've been married. And I said, I do. I think I do. It's been a long time. I said, I don't think I've canned muscadines since I was a teenager and I helped my grandfather in the kitchen. And it was one of those, he got some, I told you about the tomato bucket from the Eve's thing on another episode.
Yes.
He would get these harebrained ideas and we're going to can grapes. Okay. One time it was, he was a long distance truck driver and occasionally some extra stuff would find its way off the truck to his house. And I mean, I didn't ask a lot of questions. Right. He would always say it was legit, but he had like some weird things. Sometimes it was like, not top notch stuff, that they were going to let go of. But we creamed corn one year. We had creamed corn in freezers for like 5 years. Like he would get these harebrained big project ideas. So the muscadine grapes was one of those times. So we were like, you're going to do what? And he went and bought like a case of grapes on the road, on his way home. And okay, that's what we're going to do. So I remembered doing it. So I knew I could do it. I just wasn't for sure exactly the details. So those kind of things, I hope our kids will pull back some of those memories out of their memory banks one day and be like, yeah, I remember my mom doing that. Let's figure it out.
Yeah. And I think that they're going to get to a place in their life where they genuinely start to have an interest and a want to do some of the things that we do. Yeah. And that they've had just enough exposure to go, yeah, let's really get into this now. And that's really when they're going to take off with it.
Yeah. I'm seeing that a little bit already with Ian.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's been a little bit bored. He's finished school. He's waiting. Right. He was waiting. He just got a new job. Praise the Lord. He was waiting on a call back after this interview. So he's just been waiting.
He's been waiting.
And he didn't have in his head anything else he wanted to do. He just really wanted to wait for this. So we've encouraged it. Okay. Like that's what you want to do, then do it. So, but somebody who buys milk from us, texted me last week and said, hey, do you think that one of your boys is handy enough to build this little chicken tractor and send a YouTube link? And I was like, oh yeah, let me see if he wants. I was honestly thinking like, if he doesn't want to do it, I'll do it.
Right.
I'll make a little extra money to do that. I know what to do. So I asked him and he was like, yeah, okay, sure. He didn't watch the video. He starts asking me questions. What does she want? And I said, watch the video. Like, she gave instructions, watched it. He says, okay, fine. He's all aggravated with me about it. But chickens are not something that my kids love. Like they don't, they prefer beef and pork over chicken meat. Right. They don't like feeding the chickens.
Yeah. The chickens are the most annoying to my kids too.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
They're underfoot.
They poop on sidewalks. Mm-hmm. They are just gross.
Yeah.
And they're birds. They're nasty.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
They're gross. So, I really didn't think he'd do it. And he says, okay, all right, whatever. I'm not asking any more questions. I said, good. And I went out last night and he's got the thing almost done, like in a day.
Yeah.
And so I was real proud of him. And I said, well, how, what about like a roof or how's she going to get chickens in? And he's like, he knows how to figure all that out because he's been around chickens.
Right.
We've always had chickens.
Right.
We had chickens when he was born, I'm sure. We've always had chickens. So yeah. He was able to figure that out.
Yeah. Which leads to my next thought on this whole kid topic is like raising self-reliant kids. Mm-hmm. Like, he got to that point because as growing up, he probably had chores he was expected to do.
Right.
And even giving like little household chores, it's not them out there like raising their own food and planting a garden, but it's teaching them responsibility. It's teaching them how to start a task and finish a task.
And doing it well.
Right. So, I'm a big fan of chores.
Yeah. Yeah. I mentioned earlier that something along the lines of, taking care of live animals was important to my kids understood that they were being relied upon.
Yeah.
Like those animals are going to die in a pen if they're not fed.
Yeah.
I've seen adults let animals die in a pen because they weren't fed.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Right.
So there's, the kids got it early on, but when they were younger and, we were homeschooling and some of our best days were days where we ditched the books and we spent all day in the garden and, we dug up onions and they understood that our family is relying on me doing a good job with this work. Specifically, I remember onions being a thing because, Austin wanted to pull them out like by the green,
right?
And they were breaking off. And so if it was a smaller bulb, that was when we had a bunch of weeds covering up grass and all that. So it was a smaller bulb and it got left behind, it would just rot in the ground. And that was a teachable moment of, hey, your family
right
spent time, sweat, money on making sure this was raised well. And now we're counting on you to do a job well, to feed us. And so that was important for him, for us. And I'm sure a million other little moments like that, but that's one that stands out to me with my kids. So yeah, responsibility.
Yes, responsibility. And, even if it's little small chores, doing your laundry. I'm a big fan of my kids doing their own laundry. Like, those are their clothes. That is their dirt. If they're going to put them in the hamper wet, they're going to have to deal with the stinkiness of it. That is their responsibility. And recently, only because we've been forced to, we've moved to washing our own dishes.
Oh, nice.
Which really, I really feel like it has went a long way because you use the dish, you make it dirty, you wash it. And I think little lessons like that go a long way, not only in just raising like a kid that's going to take responsibility for his own stuff, but I think that's going to boil over into all of the self-reliant stuff.
The big stuff.
When
it matters. Yeah, I think so too. I haven't gotten that far. I am a big proponent of everybody does their own laundry.
Yes.
Not Eric. I do his laundry, but
I do my husband's laundry.
He also that's our arrangement.
Right.
Right. Anyways, but the saying in our family is when the kids can reach the knobs, we still say knobs because they used to be knobs on the back of the washer. If they can reach the knobs, they can do their laundry.
They can do their laundry.
And we've stuck to that. So, and I don't care if they're going to school in dirty jeans. I'm sorry. I can't care about everything. Like they want to go to school as the dirty kid, then that's what they're going to do. But I bet you they won't do it very much.
Nope. As soon as somebody notices or says, you kind of stink.
Yeah. Maybe that sounds harsh, but that's the kind of mama I am.
Well, you know what? Reality is a harsh teacher sometimes. And then that's just how it is.
Let me tell you about some reality with a certain adult whom I love, whom I'm married to, so we were dating. I was still in high school. We were dating. And Eric's parents went out of town on like a long across the country trip, or maybe it was their Alaska trip. I don't know. They were gone for like a month.
Okay.
And he didn't know how to do anything. Eric is the baby of 5. The next oldest is 9 years older than he is. And they were all close together, the 4, and then 9 years, and then Eric. So he was the baby.
Right.
Only child, almost kind of baby. And he had all those siblings who would scoop him up if he was, quote unquote, in trouble. There was no trouble.
Right.
They parented him more than his parents probably parented him just because he was with them all the time. So anyways, it's funny. His parents went out of town and he called my dad one day because he didn't know how to run the washing machine.
Right.
It's so funny to me now. It's so sad. But yeah, he did not know how to run the washer. He didn't have any clean clothes left.
Right.
And my dad was like, what? Which, both of my parents, I grew up in a home where both of my parents worked full time. So both of my parents contributed to household chores every day.
Right.
So, and for a period of time, my dad did all the laundry in the house. And I remember that. I remember him like doing, except he wouldn't match socks. He'd always throw us a basket of socks that we had to match as like young kids. And I remember hating that, which is so stupid because he was still doing my laundry. I should have just appreciated it. But that's something that's a whole nother thing. Like, so I don't want to raise kids who can't stand on their own feet. I have a similar story with a friend whose husband didn't know how to turn on the vacuum cleaner when they came home with their first baby after an emergency C-section and she couldn't run the vacuum.
Right.
Like that's a problem.
Right. We want to avoid these things.
Yeah. So I want to raise kids who, not just household chores, but those are important, but I wanted to raise them understanding the importance of the farm chores as well. And I think they got it.
Yeah.
I think they got it. So if you're starting out on your farm, on your little homestead, and you're trying to figure out how to incorporate your kids in that, I say, give them more responsibility than you think you can give them.
Yes, absolutely.
And let them learn right alongside you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important. It's also important to watch, I think let me say that again. It's important to let them watch you learn.
Absolutely.
So that they can grow up with those skills of figuring it out.
Problem solving.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So other than that, my kids, like I said, they think the farm thing is cool, but they're not over the top for it at the moment.
No, none of my kids are completely over the top about it either. They do really like all the steak, though. Mm-hmm. I had one of them make a comment one day when we had steak, 3 or 4 times that week. And one of them had a friend over and was like, wow, like we never eat steak. And one of the kids was like, oh,
are you
like afterwards when the friend wasn't around, one of my kids was like, do people not eat steak this much? I'm like, no, people do not eat steak 3 or 4 times a week.
That's cute.
And it's like, it's nice when I can finally see like those realizations come across them where they're like, oh,
we live differently.
Yeah. Like, wow. Like one of them the other day, I had canned carrots on the stove that I had canned, back in spring or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they, again, we always have kids' friends over for dinner.
Right.
All the teenagers kind of hang out at my house. And one of the boys was like, yeah, these are carrots from my mom's garden. I was like, oh,
he was bragging on you. That's so sweet.
So that was super cute. But yeah, it's nice as they've gotten older. They kind of, they realize like, wow, this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
But
I say they don't love it, but they do appreciate it.
They do appreciate it.
Yeah.
They know how much hard work it is because they see us go through it. Mm-hmm. My kids don't really do like a lot of the day-to-day stuff. They do a lot of the big stuff with us.
Right. Us
which
too.
Your boys probably do as well. Like if we're building a structure,
right,
they're going to be out there digging post holes for it. I promise you.
It's project day. Yeah. Occasionally I need help like with an extra big trellis that just needs more than just my hands. Like it's an awkward thing, mm-hmm. Stuff like that. They'll definitely help with, or if I can't, like they're very hands-on, toolsy, kind of mechanical. If I'm having trouble with a latch or a lock, right, or just I can't figure out why this door won't close right on my shed right now, I'm going to send a kid out there to fix it because they can do it a lot easier and more efficiently than I can.
Yeah.
And frankly, Mama's got stuff to do. Yes. Mama's making you a steak.
Yeah.
So,
my kid's new favorite farm chore is to hook the drag up to the side-by-side and go drag the cow pasture.
That's a great thing for them to do.
That basically means they can drive fast and take corners and
drift a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
Right.
Sorry, Mom.
Watch the fences.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember mine liking that at that age too.
Yeah.
Wanting to do that.
I do try to, throw in the really fun,
Yeah. Our really fun thing happening right now is, since Ian has had all this time, so we have the backfield on, we have a backfield that our cows aren't on right now, because there's a big swampy ditch that runs through it.
Okay.
And it's our rainy season. And so it's really mucky, and we still have Belle is actually due to calve today.
Oh,
I don't know, but she's not.
Nothing going on.
She's not. I've kept an eye on her. Anyways, I don't want to have a new stumbling calf end up in that ditch.
No.
So I won't let the cows back there. He knows I'm not letting the cows back there. So he went back there. There were like a bunch of like mounds of dirt and palmetto stumps that had been grown over, and grapevines on top, and briars and all that, and a bunch of stuff. And he went back there. He spent a good 4 or 5 days cleaning that. He mowed it. He cleaned it. He dug out soda apples. He, by hand, he ran the tractor many times. Like that's his fun farm chore is like, I'm going to go run the tractor.
Yeah,
and
go do something on the tractor.
Guys, this is not like a nice John Deere or Kubota. This is an old, I think it's a 47 Massey Ferguson.
Right.
And
my neighbor has one of those.
We call it Old Smoky. And it has a tire that's like...
There's his name, Betsy.
Kind of flat. Like it works. It's not on the rim, but it's low. And anyways, yeah. So it's no power steering. Like I can't drive it.
Right.
It's too much for me to even like wrap my brain around all the different gears and then have to do that and steer it without, and it's not like no power steering. It's like the steering works against you.
Wow.
It's crazy. Anyways, he's out there, he's working it, and he disked all that whole field, and he planted it with millet. And so they're setting up a dove hunt. And when that's done, we'll turn the cows out there. And so he's basically building a feed plot. And
yay for capable children.
Yeah. And that's something that he's excited for. He's looking forward to.
Right.
They're pulling money together, he and his buddies, and for seed. And I think it's cool. Like there's a lot of things that they could do worse.
Right.
A lot worse things they could do, I should say. Yes. There's a lot worse things they could be spending their time doing than preparing for a dove hunt.
Absolutely. So. And it's all those little things when he was growing up, those little tasks,
Yes. This is the same child who was 5 years old. Mama, in the morning, Mama, I'm going out to dove hunt with his little pellet gun. He could be... I don't want to hear about your gun safety. We know gun safety. Please don't write and ask about gun safety. 5 years old, he would take his little 22 pellet gun and I'm going dove hunting. Okay, baby, have fun. I'm still having my coffee. And he came back in 10 minutes later with dove meat. He had it killed and cleaned and said, would you please cook this for breakfast?
Absolutely.
Yes, darling, I will.
That will be the perfect start to the day.
Yes. So it was really sweet. So yeah, he learned hunting and gun safety and providing meat and tractor knowledge. And this tractor, I'm telling you, it's a pain in the butt. Like you can't just drive it. Like he had to go to the store to get starter fluid, and he had to clean out, there was a piece of silicone stuck somewhere in the line. And he did all of that, all the mechanics that came with that. And then the growing and, knowing what the soil needs to be able to grow that, and knowing to do it now in the rainy season. And he said he wanted to do it months ago, but we were in a drought.
Right.
So that's impressive to me. He's 18 years old.
Yeah, that is impressive.
I don't know. I still see him as my 5-year-old baby. So.
Right. Coming in with his little dove meat.
Maybe that's why it's impressive to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but.
Well, that's encouraging. And so, all you younger mamas out there with your younger babies, if you're really wanting to get your kids involved in, knowing some homesteady things and maybe learning how to grow a little bit of food, just keep them involved.
Yeah.
Keep them busy with that. Be real with them.
And find what's the thing that they do like.
Yes.
Like what does interest them? For us, like for Austin, like I said, he's not totally into the farm thing, but he's very coin operated. And so, like I said, he's going to be an entrepreneur someday. And he has, every year we are asked, why don't your kids show animals in the fair? Well, they're just not interested in it. I'm not going to push them to do it.
I get that question a lot too. How come? Because they just don't want to.
They don't want to. Like we also have weird families that have problems with like rules. Like we break them all.
Yeah, we're a bunch of rule breakers too.
We choose which authority we want to follow, like that kind of thing. So yeah, they didn't want anything to do with that. Well, this past fair season last spring, we had a night where we had all the kids over, and I went checking on kids, and Austin says, Mama, I'm going to show a pig next year. And I was like, okay, whatever, And he said, no. And all the other boys were like, we talked him into it because he discovered how much money one could make showing a pig at the fair. And so like that, and he knows how to raise a pig.
And he's also going to discover how much food it takes to raise a pig and how to calculate
all the records they have to keep. Yeah.
How many pounds of feed you need to feed the pig and how much all of that is going to cost.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. We're seeing now where some of these kids graduated high school a few years ago, and they're still like, they're in their third and fourth year of college, and they have paid for all of their college expense with their fair money that they made every year growing up.
Wow.
Their living expenses, their college tuition on fair money. It's amazing. I'm like, dang, I wish I'd have pushed my kids into that earlier. But I didn't, I don't want to drag them through anything. So that's his new thing is he's going to show a pig. So we're trying to figure out where to get show pigs from. And he's got to learn how to go in the ring and do the little wand thingy, make it.
Okay. So I have the perfect solution for you.
Okay.
He can learn all about artificial insemination on the pigs.
Okay.
And he can pick out the boar and y'all can use my sow.
Oh, well, that's something. I have to run that by him.
Because Tori just said to me last night, what are we going to do with Big Mama? I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know.
It's kind of that conversation everybody's been avoiding.
I mean, she's just like no problem. She doesn't really even eat that much anymore now that she's leveled out in her weight and her growth.
Right.
Well,
she's not pregnant. She's not nursing.
Yeah.
She's grown.
She doesn't try the fences. You watch. I shouldn't have said it. Pig will be out.
She'll be out when you get home. No, that's tough when you're undecided. So you mentioned, I know we're kind of getting crunched for time here, but real quick, you mentioned like when we brought pigs home and our kids were little, you asked, did they know what that was for?
Yeah.
And yes, it was my answer from the beginning. We always know what they're for, what our intentions are with them. However, they also always know that breeder stock is still livestock. And I'm not just going to feed an animal just to have an animal to feed.
No.
Every animal on our homestead pulls its weight.
Yes.
And even our pet dog, we only got cats to be barn cats. The dog is an alarm,
Right.
And there is a certain bit of, assigned companionship as their job. But, even our breeder mama cows, if it came down to it and, they weren't settling, I'm not just going to feed a cow just to have the cow.
No, that's just, our two that we just sent in, those were two of our old ladies who weren't taking anymore. So, and we tried for probably 4 months to have them bred.
Right.
And it just was not working anymore. So
they were past their prime.
They had lived a happy old lady cow life. They made great old lady cow steaks.
Yep. Yeah. So they know, like our kids know, that's always a possibility. So maybe Big Mama out there, that might be her fate.
It might be, or we might just have more piglets.
You might
and sell some piglets.
Do the AI thing. Yeah.
Because we really still want to do pork for ourselves.
Right.
I don't want to raise 10 pigs for 10 different families.
Right.
That was a lot of work.
Yeah. I like doing a couple at a time. I'm good with that.
Yeah. A couple at a time was good, but 10.
So you could breed her, and then you could sell off however
Yes.
many you don't want to do that for,
Right.
raise 3 or 4,
Right.
one for yourselves,
Yep.
sell a couple and as shares,
Yeah.
and then the rest just sell them when they're young,
Yep.
after they wean. So
Yeah.
that's all great stuff to bring your kids in on too, to, help them understand cost analysis. And like you said, with the
Numbers.
the show pig thing. Yeah. That's good for our kids to see. Like, we can't keep all the animals.
No.
It's always a hard choice. It's always a hard choice when it comes down to that, but a necessary choice.
A necessary choice. And, you just have to talk them through it. Like, this is why we're deciding this for this one. This is why we're going to decide the opposite for this one.
Yeah. I like what you said about just be honest. And I think that's key.
Yeah.
With your kids.
Absolutely.
Just be honest.
Just be honest. They can take it.
Yeah.
They can.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, other than that, anything new on your farm?
Well, I started some seeds, and some did great and some did not. So I restarted some more. And I had decided that I'm going to start bottom watering them with fish emulsion.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just for a little extra.
I'm doing a little bit more research into, it's kind of like the Goods vetted swamp water.
Yeah.
It's the JADAM. It's JADAM. And basically it's the same thing.
It's the Korean.
It's the old Korean.
Yeah.
What they call it, fertigation.
Okay.
So I'm doing more research on the history of that with the ancient Koreans and how they did that and how they fertilized their crops and worked with the rainy season and that kind of thing. And so it's
interesting.
It's super interesting. I don't know why I'm into that. I think, the biggest thing for me is I want less inputs. And so we always have stuff we're pulling out of the garden. We always have kitchen scraps.
Always. And if we can utilize what we have, that is amazing.
Yeah. So an actual compost pile is just something that keeps eluding me.
Oh,
like I do it. Like I've done it small scale a lot. I did it big scale back before we poisoned a tomato garden with our cow manure. But I've never done it like well, I'm struggling with. So the JADAM's working.
Well, and one thing that I've been researching, because I've had compost on the brain too, because if you have a big garden, you need compost. And, there's been just a lot of unreliability of stuff that you can buy off the shelf now. So it's been on my mind. We really need to compost. So I had that broken freezer.
Right.
I've decided that is for sure going to be my compost bin, but I'm going to do one of the forced air static piles.
Okay.
And so we are designing a set of PVC pipes to run down into the freezer. And you put the compost on top of that and a blower on just a timer. And you turn your timer on, like people do it for like a minute every hour.
Okay.
And it is a low input way of, in other words, you don't have to turn your compost.
Low people input.
Low people input.
Low time.
Low work. Because essentially when you're turning your compost, it's because you need to infuse air into it. And so the whole idea behind that method is to just put the air in it.
Right. So that keeps it aerobic. Once it goes anaerobic, it's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is officially what is going to happen with my freezer.
Very cool.
Yes. So
do you sink it into the ground to do that or no?
No.
Okay.
Nope. It's just going to stay right on the concrete slab for right now.
Okay.
And the pipes will go, all the way down to the bottom of the freezer, just with holes drilled in them. I'll probably do 2
on the inside.
A fairly good size, maybe like 1.5 to 2 inch pipe.
Okay.
Just 2 at the very bottom, holes drilled.
Nice. Very cool.
Yep. So I've started saving my kitchen scraps in my freezer because I have a little bit of extra freezer space right now. So I've got bags of kitchen scraps getting piled up in there. And I've got a bunch of stuff that's about to come out of the garden. All the Seminole pumpkin scraps are going to go into that aerated compost pile. So
I'm excited to see how that works out for you.
yes.
That's very cool.
So I just have to gather all my materials, and the pipes will be easy to put together.
Does it need to keep a constant temperature?
In order to kill weed seeds and bacteria, I believe you want to keep it at like 130, I think the number is, for 3 days.
Okay.
And that's at the point that people would go in and turn it. So, you know, I guess you don't want it to stay like that for too long or get too high, especially with the forced air, because you have a fire risk.
Right.
Which is another reason why it's really important to keep enough moisture in those piles.
Okay.
So
interesting. That's super interesting.
I've been watching all the YouTube videos on it.
That's very cool. I love that we have YouTube to do that for.
I know. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have been able to figure out all this stuff on my own.
Yeah.
Like Grandma did.
Like Grandma did. I know. We've got books. We talked about books last week a little bit.
Yeah.
But still, like, you know, not even Grandma. I think it was great Grandma.
Right.
Yeah. Because
great Grandma.
Yeah. Yeah. Even Grandma's a little appalled that, you know, we butcher animals. So I think that's how many generations are removed at this point.
Yeah, because, you know, Grandma was like World War era when all the factory convenience, mass production started to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. It's crazy to think that we've been reliant on grocery stores for that long. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
So, yeah, get your kiddos off the couch.
Yeah.
Out from in front of the TV and the devices.
Learn some compost science.
Yeah.
It's all science on the farm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Learning some skills.
All right, y'all. Until next week.
Bye.
Bye.